بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to our reading of the Waraqat, explanation of the Waraqat of Imam al-Juwayni. Before we get started, a special dua for the people of Sudan, people of Kashmir, specifically now what we're seeing happening in Palestine and Gaza. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make ihya of this ummah. Ya Rabbal Alameen. قال فضيلة الإمام الحرمين رحمه الله. So now he's going to move on from talking about words that the meaning is in the actual word. It's in the actual word. Like Amr and Nahi. The word itself carries that meaning. To words now, what we say are the awarid. The awarid means as-sifat. That these are more like the attributes or the qualities that come with these words. I don't want to get into that a lot now, but in the future, in other texts, we're going to talk about it. So just be ready. The awarid of these words. And the first are going to be those words that are universal in meaning. Universal in meaning. For example, if I say Suhaib, that's one person. That's not universal. But if I say al-insan, that's all people. That's all people. If I say ma or man, whatever or whom, that encompasses anything that falls under the umbrella of that word. Man could be any human being on the face of the earth, any human being that's lived or will live. Ma is any inanimate object that has existed, will exist, or is existing now. So those words like insan and man and ma, aynama takunu yudrikum al-maut. The Quran says, wherever you are, death will reach you. Wherever. So under wherever, north, south, east, west, my house, your house, across the street, right? It yastaghriq. Istighraq means to submerge. So gharaq is to drown. So yastaghriq, the word, it submerges all of its singular parts under the meaning of that word. Understand it that way. So for example, al-insan, list how many people would fall under the term insan. Khalas, be there till the end of time. Listen who falls under that. What's under the umbrella of that word. This is called am with ayn, am with mim. If I say amamtuka bil ata, I submerged you, if you will, like I covered you with a gift. Like there wasn't anything I neglected. So that's the meaning here. Am are those words in the Quran and in hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who their legal implications are universal. That's very important. That's very important because that means that ruling applies to everybody. That ruling applies to everybody. So the Shaykh, he says, rahimahullah, وَأَمَّا الْعَامُّ. As for am, this universal word, فَهُوَ, it is ma, what? Ma, amma shay'ayni fasa'idan. It is what encompasses two or more things. Just a FYI, if you really think about the definition I gave you for am earlier through examples, وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ, whatever good you do, Man yuqridullah, man yuqridullah qardan, whoever gives to God a good loan, whoever that definition that he gives, you're going to see that there's an issue with many scholars of Usul al-Fiqh about this definition from al-Lum'a, by the way, that Imam al-Haramain took from al-Shirazi, al-Ustad, ma amma shay'ain. Because if you say two things, that's not am anymore. That's khas, specific, and that's going to come later on. So understand right now that there is a disagreement amongst the three madhahib that make up what's called the madhab of the mutakallimin in usul al-fiqh. Who are the mutakallimin? The Malikis, the Shafis, and the Hanbalis. The other madhab in usul al-fiqh is called the fuqaha. Who's that? Sadatu al-Hanafiyya, the Hanafis. Just remember that. But within the mutakallimin, the Malikis, the Shafis, the Hanbalis, there is a difference of opinion. Is an am something that is two or more words, or is it something which is plural? Does it? Because two would be limiting it. So, for example, Imam Ibn Hajib says, "Lafdun yastaghriqu جميع أفراده بدفعة واحدة. Right? لفظ يستغرق, a word that encompasses جميع, all of أفراده, its parts, all of those insan, all of the human beings that come under that word. So just a FYI, that's going to come up later, and I don't like to get lost in the dispute over definitions, but sometimes it helps us think more holistically, and when we study fiqh, we're able to appreciate sometimes little differences rooted in definitions. So Imam al-Haramain represents one school that says am is two or more words. The other, like the Malikis, we say lafdun yastaghriqu jami'a afradihi, that it's a word that is not restricted to two, but it's something which is unrestricted, right? It's not exclusive. Better meaning is exclusive. It's not exclusive to two. Unrestricted is something we'll talk about in the future. It's not exclusive to two. It is universal. So he says, وَأَمَّا الْعَامُ فَهُوَ مَا عَمَّ شَيْئَيْنِ فَصَاعِدًا. The word صَاعِدًا means مِنْ غَيْرِ حَصْرٍ, without any limitation. مِنْ قَوْلِهِ عَمَمْتُ زَيْدًا وَعَمْرًا بِالْعَطَاءِ. Right? For example, the statement, I عَمَمْتُ زَيْدًا وَعَمْرًا بِالْعَطَاءِ, that I, encompassed Zayd and Amr with ata. And again, there is some concern here because you're limiting the ata to two people. Actually, the example I gave you earlier, I just wanted to show you in language what it means. It's not an Usul al-Fiqh example. So some people said here that Imam al-Haramain here is just giving a linguistic definition, a linguistic usage. And amamtu Zaydan wa Amran bil ata, that I showered, if you will, Amran and Zayd with a gift. But scholars of Usul are like, you can't limit to Amr and Zayd. خلاص. وَأَمَمْتُ جَمِيعَ النَّاسِ بِالْعَطَاءِ. But if you pay attention to what Imam al-Haramain is doing, he's sticking to his method. He says, مَا عَمَّ شَيْئَيْنِ, which encompasses two things. So the first example, look at it. عَمَمْتُ زَيْدًا وَعَمْرًا بِالْعَطَاءِ. He mentions two things, Zayd and Amr. So according to him, that's Am. وَعَمَمْتُ جَمِيعَ النَّاسِ بِالْعَطَاءِ. And I gave all humanity, every one of them, a gift. So according to his madhab, he's right. Two, Amran and Zayd, or more, Jami'a Nasi bil Ata. Those scholars like the Malikis, who I mentioned earlier, are going to say, no, lafdun yastaghriqu jami'a faradi. They're going to say, la ya shaykh. The only example that works here is Amamtu Jami'a Nasi bil Ata. I gave all humanity something of a gift, not Zayd and Amr, because that will be what's called khas, to make it exclusive. Then also, scholars, they say about, this definition, ma amma shay'aini falsa'idan. They add something, bi daf'atan wahida. Imam al-Haramain, as I recall, I'm looking here. Yeah, he doesn't mention that. But what does it mean, daf'atan wahida? It means that it's just one word, one expression. So, al-insan, one word. But it encompasses all its afrad. Remember that word afrad, all its parts, if you will, all its singular parts. So, bidaf'atin wahidatin kama qala Imam Ibn Hagib and his Mukhtasar, means in one expression, it encompasses those universal meanings. So I don't have to say Suhaib, Abdullah, Ahmed, Fatima, Ruqayya, Jamil, Abdillahi. Now I mention afrad. Daf'an wahida, al-insan, al-nas. Khalas. Then how do we recognize when something is am, when we're reading the Quran or reading the hadith of Sayyid al-Aqwan sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? We're going to talk about that next time. Barakallahu feekum. Sallallahu wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.